They said the house was quiet. They didn't mention the whispers. Clara moved into the old cottage after her husband passed. The town was small, silent, the kind where nobody asked questions. The house had charm and history. The neighbors said the last woman who lived there was very quiet. They all smiled too much when they said it. Clara didn't mind. She wanted silence, peace, but the house had rules. Every night at exactly 11:47 p.m., she'd hear footsteps upstairs. Just once, just across the hall. But she lived alone, and the house had no upstairs. The sound stopped if she turned the lights on. It returned the moment she turned them off. On the third night, she found a chair moved in the kitchen. Then a glass filled with water, but she hadn't used it. She asked the neighbor about it. The old lady just said, "They like routine, don't disturb it." Soon Clara stopped sleeping. She just sat, listening. The voices were faint, like humming through walls. A man whispering, a girl crying. Once someone laughed, and every mirror in the house slowly started fogging. Even when there was no heat, one night she finally said aloud, "Please stop." Everything went silent. For 3 days, Clara slept peacefully, until she woke up. In the attic, she had no idea how she got there. There was a mirror on the wall, a note carved into the glass. "The quiet ones still talk." Clara doesn't leave the house now. She just stares into mirrors. Sometimes she smiles too much. And when the new neighbor moved in next door, Clara greeted her kindly and said, "The last woman who lived here was very quiet." So she's not Clara anymore. Part 2 of The Quiet Ones Still Talk. They said the house was abandoned, but the lights were on. I'm Leah. I make videos about haunted homes, forgotten places, buried stories. Clara's house came up in a Reddit thread. No one could confirm if she ever left, just vanished. So I went there, to the town that smiles too much. The cottage looked empty from the road, but the moment I stepped inside, the air was warm. There was tea on the table, still steaming, and a mirror in the hallway. Cracked foggy, just like they described. I found a journal in the kitchen. Clara was written on the first page. I flipped through. Pages of loneliness, whispers, and fogged mirrors. But near the end, something stopped me cold. The handwriting was mine. I never wrote those words, but the way the ink curled, the way it slanted, it was me. It is me. I flipped to the last page. It said, "You asked for stories. Now you're one of them." I looked up, into the mirror, and Clara was behind me, smiling. But when I turned around, no one was there, and her reflection stayed. She whispered, "It's your turn to be quiet now." I haven't left the house since, but someone just rang the bell. I think it's another girl with a camera. I'll smile at her. Too much? Now she's me. Clara's Curse, final chapter. I used to count the days, but here there are no days. The sun doesn't rise, or maybe I'm no longer in a place where the sun exists. That night in Clara's house changed everything. And now I understand. This house never lets you leave. The last night, I thought I'd record one final story and walk away. But the ticking of the clock felt wrong. Slower, louder, like it wasn't marking time, but counting me down. The mirror in Clara's room was clearer now. Too clear. When I looked at it, my reflection wasn't quite right. The eyes staring back were a little too wide, a little too dark, like someone else was looking out from inside me. The whispers started again, sometimes behind me, sometimes right against my ear. Turn around. I spun. Nothing. Closer. This time in the mirror, there was someone standing right behind me. A woman in a torn white dress, her face half hidden, blood staining the fabric. I swung my flashlight toward her, but the room was empty. I turned back to the mirror. She was still there, smiling. The journal's warning. I grabbed Clara's journal, flipping through the brittle pages. A folded letter slipped out, yellowed with age. In shaky handwriting, it read, "If you see her, don't look away. If you look away, she will be behind you." I didn't blink, didn't breathe. In the mirror, her shape began to move, but I stood perfectly still. Then slowly she raised her hand, and on the inside of the glass she began to write, "Let me in." I felt it then, my fingertips turning cold, my breath coming shallow, a smile creeping onto my lips, one I didn't choose. In my head a voice whispered over and over, "Stories need an ending." And I realized this wasn't my ending. It was Clara's. The front door creaked open. Footsteps. Someone new had entered. A young woman holding a camera. Just like I had that first night. I felt my smile widen, the same one I'd seen on Clara's face. I stepped forward, my voice soft, inviting. "You're just in time to hear the ending. Since that night I'm not Clara, but I'm not Leah anymore either. I'm just waiting for the next guest to wander in. Every new visitor is a new story, and I'm the narrator now. If you're hearing this, maybe you're standing in front of my mirror. Go ahead, blink, and see what happens."